Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Happy first day of February, the month of love, according to the greeting cards companies. So little pink, well, magenta to celebrate. I just came from a jazzercise workout, which is a great place to start for today. So if you're here, let me know you're here. Hit hashtag replay in the comments if you don't see this till later. If you are just stumbling on my page, my name is Donna. I am a wellness advocate. I believe in wellness any way we can get it. I believe that it's a broad topic that we can help each other by sharing information. So during Wellness Wednesday, I absolutely encourage you to participate, to let me know if you have topics that you would like to see me dig into. I love to learn. So if it's something that you're not sure how to research, but want to know more about and just don't know where to start, send me a message. Let me know, and I'll see if I can work on it for a future Wellness Wednesday topic. Now, if you are just getting on here and you are like, oh, I don't even want to talk about group exercise, just hang out for a minute, because there might be something here that's helpful to you, especially if it's something you've thought about and talked yourself out of every time. So again, my name is Donna. I am a wellness advocate. I am an aspiring personal trainer. I am working on getting back into the mental health field. I'm not a doctor, but I do have a lot of experience in learning how to cope with my anxiety and depression that I had for pretty much a lifetime up until now. And I still have it. It's just that I'm in recovery phase. It's just like anything else. You're always recovering from something like that. And there's just a lot of great ways that we can support our wellness. And one of those is exercise. Now, for the last few weeks, we have been digging in pretty hard on mindset and fear, but wanted to kind of take a little break and touch on the body a little bit. And fear is a great segue into today's topic, which is, do you fear group exercise? And the best reasons why not to be a workout loner. So I never worked out in a group. I was a hardcore loner growing up. I was bullied. I didn't have a lot of friends. I had kind of an odd childhood. So I was used to doing things by myself, being by myself. And working out was one of those things. I did not want people to see me. I did not want people to judge me. I did not want to make a fool of myself. There was a serious lack of self-confidence. I didn't like to let people get too close. So working out alone was my thing. I got lots of compliments all of the time, because I was so motivated, because I had a weight bench at home and I would work out alone, and I did Tae Bo videos. We're going way back here. I'm showing my age a little bit. I did Tae Bo videos. I did all these things by myself at home. And lots of compliments about my intrinsic motivation. Well, the motivation was actually really that I wanted to do those things, but did not want to do them in front of anybody. I would not even work out in front of my husband if I could avoid it at the time. So I would do those things at home. When I started running again, because I had run in high school and then stopped, when I started running again, I would maybe run with the friend that got me started on it. And then maybe run with the boyfriend I had at the time, because by then I was divorced. But other than that, I ran alone. So I wanted nothing to do with any of the benefits of group exercise, didn't even know the benefits of group exercise. Good morning, Miss Danielle. I see that you feel me this morning. So there was just a lot, like I said, it was not as much intrinsic motivation as it was motivation to do the things without anybody seeing me. Even running was a struggle for me at first, because, you see people when you're out there on the road running, if you're not on a treadmill. So why do we fear group exercise? Well, many of the reasons. Good morning, Dawn. Nice to see you. For many of the same reasons I just cited. And the primary thing that most of us fear that keeps us from a lot of things, either self-judgment or fear of someone else's judgment. We fear that we don't look like everyone else. We don't go to the gym because we don't think we look good enough. We we're afraid we're not going to do it right, or that we don't know enough. So we want to know how to do it and be good at it before we get there, which in group exercise stuff is not always possible. It's a nice idea, but it's not always possible. And it's kind of like with everything else. Sometimes we don't get started until we know how to do it well, and we can't learn how to do it well until we get started. So it's kind of a circle. And we don't like accountability sometimes. Guilty, totally guilty. If I did something with someone else, then that meant that I had to show up for them. And I was not always okay with that. It meant changing my schedule. It meant getting out of my comfort zone. So those are a lot of the reasons that we fear group exercise. Like I said, we're afraid, we're judging ourselves before we even get out the door, but we're also afraid that everybody else is going to judge us. Maybe we don't think we look right in our exercise wear, maybe because it's, active wear tends to be kind of close fitting, performance related, if it's giving you muscle support. And, we think we've got the wrong clothes. We think we've got the wrong look. We're afraid people are going to be staring at us. There's all these things. And a lot of times, not everybody uses that as fuel to do it at home. Some people just use it as fuel to never get started. So what are the benefits of group exercise, and what does this have to do with wellness? Well, obviously, again, wellness is a broad topic. Lots of aspects here: physical, mental, diet, all the things. So what are the benefits? Well, first of all, motivation and inspiration. Once you get out the door and you get there and you get in a group setting, one of my first group classes was yoga, and you get in a group setting, you may find, good morning, Natalie, that you have a tiny bit of a competitive streak that you may not ever discover until you're working out in a group. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's where that motivation and inspiration comes from. If you see somebody else that looks like they're performing the poses in yoga, for example, perfectly, then you are more likely to try to model that, as long as you know when to stop and don't overdo in the interest of trying to model what somebody else is doing. Inspiration, you see somebody else, you go to a group class of some sort and you see somebody else that's just really good at it, you are more likely to try harder to be like that. And if you think that's not a thing, let me just ask a runner. Ask a runner who's done like 5K races or who's been out on the trail or on the roads running, because we could stop for a walk break, and if we see another runner coming, I promise you, most of us are gonna start running, because we don't want another runner to see us not running. I also know that when I started running with groups of people, I ran faster because I wanted to keep up with them, or because I wanted to stay ahead of them. No workouts on this channel yet, Natalie. Hopefully in the near future, but kickboxing, thank you for reminding me, that is another great group option. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So motivation and inspiration, like I said, once you get into that group workout setting, you are more likely to work a little harder when you have other people around you. And that's all part of that judging, worrying about what you look like thing, but it can be used in a positive manner. Good morning, Carla. Variety. It changes up your workout, which benefits muscle memory. That there are different schools of thought on that, but if you're doing the same workout all the time, sometimes you're not getting as much out of it after a while. So with group workouts, often the workout is changing on a fairly regular basis. And it also prevents burnout. For years, I ran exactly the same route all the time. And even in running, I just got to the point where sometimes I really struggled to get out the door. And it was because I needed to change up the scenery. I needed to change up the routine. So group exercise, depending on the type you're doing, and in most cases, whether it's kickboxing, which again, thank you, Natalie, for reminding me that exists. Kickboxing, CrossFit, yoga, jazzercise, Zumba, any of those things, oftentimes the workout is not exactly the same every time. So that helps prevent that burnout. It helps keep things new so that you keep going. Community. As a hardcore loner, this was not something I ever thought I needed. And I very rarely ever had more than one best friend at a time. I didn't think I needed more than one at a time. Didn't think I could handle more than one at a time. When I started my business, we're party based, and I ran into an old friend who who hosted a party with me, and that got me introduced to the Jazzercise community. So if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be going to Jazzercise 2 to 3 times a week minimum and looking forward to it to spend time with those ladies and be inspired by those ladies, I would have laughed at you. Now, at that point, I had already started doing group yoga classes sporadically, and I was also doing line dancing when I could find it. But Jazzercise was a whole different animal. It required a different type of coordination. It was much closer, more women. It was just a completely different animal. I used it to replace line dancing when I couldn't line dance for a while, and it's now become its own anomaly in my life that I just don't feel like I could really live without. So the community is there. And these are people, when you get there, that you already have things in common with because you're on the same journey they are. You might just be at a different place in their journey. And trust me, when you're going to classes like that, nobody's judging you because they're too busy focusing on getting it right themselves. So that community plus the support and the guidance. If you have, for example, in Jazzercise a couple months ago, I did something to my lower back. The lady next to me, love her to death. She's amazing. And she was like, are you okay? Maybe you need to lower your weights. She had suggestions. She had cautions. She was truly concerned for whether or not I was okay. And then asked me about it later the next time she saw me. So there's a definite community and support there that you really can't get anywhere else. Again, ask any runner, even in the running community, even if you don't know people personally, when you see them repeatedly at 5K after 5K or on the trails, there's like an unspoken bond that develops there that you just don't get from working at home or working out alone. Accountability. If you're showing up for others, you're more likely to show up. We are always, especially women, are always more likely to show up for someone else than we are to show up for ourselves. Now, on any given Wednesday, before my Wellness Wednesday, I could talk myself out of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to make the 5:45 class. But a good friend of mine decided a couple weeks ago that she wanted to try Jazzercise. Usually, if I do make the 5:40 class, I'm like rolling in there on fire at 5:44 because no matter what I do, I can't seem to get out the door in time to get there earlier. But that morning that she said she was going to come to class for the first time and possibly sign up, my butt was there. My butt was there 5 whole minutes early. I was up and at 'em and ready to go. And that's just a perfect example of how that accountability works. You are more likely to show up if you have committed to somebody else that you will. When we a group of us started doing group workouts and meeting for group runs, several years ago on Sundays, it was a struggle for me. But I showed up because I told other people I was going to be there. It boils down to doing what you say you're going to do. Number 5, and the last benefit I'm going to talk about of group exercise is, it's the next best thing to a personal trainer. If you're not in a place yet where you want to hire a personal trainer or you aren't where you necessarily feel like you have access to one, group instructors are professionals that are showing you the proper form to help you prevent injury. So they're teaching. That's their job. If they're a yoga instructor, if they're a CrossFit instructor, and I've never been to CrossFit, so I'm not really sure what that looks like. It is something I would love to try. Same with kickboxing. It's something I've always wanted to try. And that'll come eventually. But your line dance teachers, your Zumba instructors, your Jazzercise instructors, yoga, they're there for a purpose. They're there to lead the group and display the proper form. And I know the Jazzercise instructors here locally, good morning, Ann, are really, really good. They don't ever necessarily single anybody out, but they're up on stage and they're observing the group and they may see something and they'll just say, ladies, remember, you want to do it this way, not this way, or you get more out of it if you do it this way. So it's just fantastic. And if you think you're ready for a personal trainer, by all means, seek one out. But if you're not to that point, then again, group instructors are there to teach. And it is a great way to learn the proper forms without injuring yourself And if especially if you go for the first time, tell them that you're new. Tell them whether or not you've done that before, how long it's been, so that they know. And even in a group setting, it's okay if you need to back off for a minute. For example, last week, or maybe it was earlier this week, I don't remember. It's all starting to blur together. I sometimes with certain moves still feel my lower back tighten up a little bit from that injury. So I don't have any qualms because I don't want to not be able to go. I don't have any qualms about stopping, putting the weights down for a minute, doing a little stretching to try to get that straightened out and getting back into it. So it's okay to know your limits and even step out in a group exercise situation if you need to, and as long as you can step aside safely. So what kind of group exercise and where the heck do you find it, right? All right, well, there's run and fitness clubs everywhere. I know that I'm in Citrus County. I don't know where you are necessarily, but in Citrus County, I know there is a gentleman by the name of Bill. It just actually popped up in my news feed the other day, and I will try to go back and find it, that does some type of a group fitness run club here in Crystal River. There's a lot of times there's different road runners groups in different counties, in different towns, running clubs. A lot of times if you Google something like that with the words near me afterwards, Google can use your location to find something nearby. If you're not sure, post it on Facebook. Post it on social media. Say, hey, I'm looking to get involved in X, whatever it is, a run club, a fitness club, a group class. And people are more than happy to tell you if they're doing something like that. Sometimes you just don't see it until you're thinking about it, and then it's everywhere. There's a lot of times there's group fitness classes at some of the bigger gyms and at the YMCA. We have a local YMCA. We have a couple of different local gyms that do fitness classes. I just saw one ask about Tai Chi yesterday in Inverness. The YMCA does group fitness classes. Those are fantastic options, depending on what they're running and what you're looking for. Line dancing. Okay, this is kind of a cult. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know anybody who was line dancing until I got into my first class. And there's like a whole underground group of line dancers you would never know about. There's workshops that they go to in different cities, different states, sometimes even in different countries. Sometimes stuff like that can be a little harder to find until you get to the first one. So the best way, post it on Facebook. Again, ask if there's anybody doing line dances in the area. If you have a country bar in the area or a bar that has a country night, they may be doing lessons. Reach out and find out. A lot of times those are earlier in the evening before maybe the bar attendees get too creepy or too drunk or whatever. And another thing is, like, for example, in Florida, there are two groups on Facebook. One is Central Florida Line Dance and one is Line Dance Florida. If you start searching that in Facebook, you are likely to find one of the, either a big group, a national group that you can post in and say, hey, this is where I live. Where can I find line dance classes? Or you might actually find a line dance group that's affiliated with your state, your county, whatever. Like I said, in this case, in Florida, the two that I know of are Central Florida Line Dance and Line Dance Florida. You would be amazed at how many classes there are going around that you just don't even know about until you get it on your radar. And again, you can post on Facebook and say, hey, I'm interested in learning how to line dance. Is anybody doing any classes? Does anybody know of any classes? There's a good chance that someone is either doing it or knows someone who is. It's just, like I said, it's just not something you see a whole lot about publicly until you're looking for it and you get connected that first time. And then all of a sudden you're like, I had no idea all of this was going on. Good morning, Caitlin. Zumba and Jazzercise, almost every town, almost every county has some sort of branch of one of these. I go to the local Crystal River Jazzercise Center. It's phenomenal. The ladies are phenomenal. There's so many different class times and options. But Jazzercise is a nationwide thing, so you can get on the main Jazzercise Facebook page and message them and find out if there's something local. You can go to the Jazzercise website. They even have an app where you can search for classes near you and see class times. Zumba also is nationwide, worldwide. I haven't tried Zumba yet. I believe there's actually a class that takes place somewhere near the Jazzercise Center in Crystal River. And I know of at least one lady that was teaching it for a while. But because it's not on my radar, it's something I don't always see and hear a lot about. But Zumba, again, Google search near me, check your Facebook, search in groups to see if there's one local, post it on Facebook. And yoga, group yoga classes sometimes depend on the area. I know we had a local yoga studio in Hernando that just closed down. A lot of times the Ys, sometimes the gyms will do yoga classes. So again, it's one of those things. The easiest way to find it is use your social media resources. Get a post out there. If you know somebody that's doing that kind of thing, ask them. But get a post out there and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Who's doing it and where can I go? And like I said, if you get people that if they're not doing it, they probably know somebody is. They might tag that person. I actually forget how many local line dance instructors there are until some organization posts that they're looking for somebody to come teach at an event. And then all of a sudden there's like 80 people being tagged besides the ones I'm tagging. So there's lots of options out there. Kickboxing. I know there's a couple of different martial arts gyms in this area that are doing that. Again, it's something I want to try. So it's kind of sporadically on my radar. But if you're looking, I know of a couple places I can connect you to if you're looking here locally where I am in Citrus County. But again, a lot of times the martial arts places, I see them when I'm just driving around and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, that's where that is. So remember, once you start thinking about it, you are more likely to see it. If somebody says to you, there's a lot of green cars on the road. You may have never seen a green car on the road, but I guarantee you, the next 5 times you leave the house, you're going to see a green car. And it's because it's now on your radar, so it's salient to you. So if you are really interested in getting involved in some type of group exercise activity, there are so many choices. A lot of them have low impact options if you're worried about that. Start looking. Get it on your radar. Post it on Facebook and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Does anybody I know doing it or know somebody that is? If you're looking for local stuff like local line dancing, jazzercise, etc., send me a message. I'll either send you a link to their website or class schedule or whatever I have going on. So feel free to drop me a message, drop a comment below. And like I said, don't fear the group exercise. There's so many benefits. If you can plus a schedule. If you're somebody, there's a lot of people working from home right now. There's a lot of just a lot of that. People that are not leaving the house as much. It helps to keep you on a schedule too. I now work from home and have been since September. And let me tell you, getting up and getting to that 5:45 a.m. jazzercise class guarantees I'm not staying in bed too long and that I'm getting up and I'm getting my day started so that I can get a lot more done. So definitely do not fear group exercise. There's some fantastic reasons here to not be the workout loner. I hope you found this helpful. If you found this helpful, please share. If you're looking for some type of local class, then send me a message or comment below and I'll connect you wherever I can. And again, if you've never worked out before and you're thinking about a group class, I recommend starting with something like yoga. And always, if you're not sure, check with your doctor first. That's always a recommendation in any video, in any class, whatever. But you know your body and you know what you're capable of. And if you recognize your limits and stop at those and don't push too hard to the point of injury, you can handle any of this, even a local walking club. And if you can't find one, consider starting one. Okay, that's all I have for today. I hope you all have an amazing Wednesday. Please be well. I will see you next week. And again, if you have a topic you'd like to see me cover, shoot me a message, drop a comment. If you have a certain type of group workout that you're looking for, again, send me a message, drop a comment. And if you're really truly concerned about how you're going to look in the gym, I can hook you up with some awesome activewear that will make you feel confident and give you muscle support you're looking for. But enough about that. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Share if you found this helpful, if you think it'll help somebody else, and have a fabulous Well Wednesday. Bye.